Hi and welcome back to Poem Praise 2, and we're going to move right along this evening with our next extraordinary African American I have for you this evening is Lorraine Hansberry. Now, she's a playwright during the time period of 1930 to 1965 and reads as such. And because we are also, strangely enough, under the circumstances, patriotic Americans, most of us are still willing. Despite the dogs and the hoses and the police, to set forth the message of our discontent by walking and talking. Lorraine Hansberry. Now, when Lorraine Hansberry was 26 years old, she became the first African American woman to have a play produced on Broadway, and the youngest person to win the New York Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Play, titled A Raisin in the Sun. The play is about an African American family's effort to move into an all-white neighborhood. There was a problem with which Hansberry was familiar. When Hansberry was 8 years old, her father, a successful Chicago businessman, moved their family into an all-white neighborhood. The reaction of the new neighbors was hostile. The Hansberrys were threatened, harassed, and finally evicted by court order. Mr. Hansberry, however, would not give up. With the help of lawyers from the NAACP, he challenged the lower court decision. Finally, in 1940, the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Meanwhile, Lorraine had become interested in the work of African American authors, particularly Langston Hughes. Now, graduating from high school in 1948, she enrolled at the University of Wisconsin, where she studied art and stage design. Now, after completing her sophomore year, she moved to New York, where she met and married Robert Nemiroff, a music publisher. Now, during the next 3 years, Hansberry wrote her famous play, A Raisin in the Sun. It was a wonderful play, but she had trouble getting it produced. Many producers felt there would be no interest in a serious black-oriented play. Besides, Hansberry was unknown, African American, and a woman. 3 more strikes against her. Determined to see her play performed on stage, Hansberry set out to find investors. Eventually, she found people willing to take a chance. A Raisin in the Sun was an immediate hit. Booked into Broadway's Ethel Barrymore Theater on March 11, 1959. It ran for 19 months and made into a movie that won the Cannes Film Festival Award in 1961. A musical version won the Tony Award in 1974. The play itself had been translated into 30 languages. The success of A Raisin in the Sun made Hansberry a celebrity. She was asked to comment on a major political issues, especially as they related to women's rights and the growing civil rights movement. In 1964, she wrote the text for a book called The Movement, a collection of photographs documenting the civil rights movement. Her second play, The Sign in Sydney, Brewstein's Window, also opened that year. In 1963, Hansberry was diagnosed with cancer, and it became increasingly difficult for her to write. She was in and out of the hospital until she died on January the 12th, 1965. Fragments from her plays, letters, and stories were collected by Robert Nemiroff in a book called To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. In it, Hansberry's strength, pride, humor, kindness, and love of life shine through. I wish to live, she writes, because life has within it that which is good, that which is beautiful, and that which is love. I certainly do thank you for your attention while I was letting you know about Lorraine Hansberry, a playwright during the time period of 1930 to 1965. And I think I have enough time for this evening for us to do one more extraordinary African American. And next coming up is going to be James Baldwin. Now, he's a writer during the time period of 1924 to 1987. So, certainly stay tuned, and I'll be talking to you real soon. Okay? Later.